They'll blanket you in Wi-Fi and profit off the radiation. Congregation collecting the people for that Satan. I keeps it blazing, cause I can read between the lines. I ain't blind, we unwind what they're really saying. Genetically modify what you're tasting. Don't need that cottage promise, so now you live up in your mom's basement. Redesign time so your mind is always wasted. Program to crave the basics. Keep the beta in stasis. Pay the state, kid. You're in debt for being born. Messengers are more than just the price for being warned. Don't be alarmed. Disconnect from their machinations. Stop subscribing to the folly of own nations. Bone breaking ain't the answer, cause they seek the ownership of souls. Spread the seeds and watch them grow. Break the chains of control. Break the chains of control.
Sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful, friends. Tonight on Rogueways, we have the pleasure of conversing with one of the most badass rogue warriors there is, a woman who cured herself of one of the most virulent and unstoppable seeming diseases, while the whole world told her she couldn't do it. She went on to achieve greatness alongside the bees that saved her, and finally fell from grace as she became shunned by the socialites and opinion rags of the elite when she spoke too much truth. A woman who has tirelessly worked to uncover the real story behind the George Floyd shenanigans and the engineered race divide, who has cured herself and others with the power of the bees and more, and who writes and talks nonstop in order to keep bringing more light of truth into this world. Maryam Heinen, welcome to Rogueways, and how are you doing tonight?
Wow, what an awesome intro.
Nice
to be here, Lydia. It's been a minute. We were both ill last time we were speaking.
We went through the 5G attack or whatever it is that actually is happening, right? Well, it's good to have you here. I'm so excited to talk to you about so many things, because as much as we have hung out and talked and done some pretty profound things together, I don't actually know your story, so I'm really excited. I know the outline of it, but I want to hear the details. But before we get into that and share it with everybody, I do want to invite everyone to One Day of Brightness this Sunday, this coming Sunday, this weekend. The 27th is when we're going to do it. It's a full day of upliftment, of healing, of wellness, of spiritual connection, of depth, and you get to participate with so many beautiful souls who show up, as well as our amazing practitioners and teachers. We have Catherine O'Shea. She brings us deep into connection, gives us healing and release. We have Noriana Diesel. She's our somatic expert. She's going to help us get into our bodies and release trauma and uplift there. And then we have Phoenix Aurelius, of course, the master alchemist and wizard himself, and he always brings us some exceptional teaching and spiritual tools. All of it is what you can apply directly to your life. You can get so refilled and recharged, and we're going to do this in alignment, of course, with the spring equinox, which just happened the other day, and so we're celebrating. Come celebrate with us. Of course, you always also are automatically entered to win free gifts. We have orgone, we have books, we have free sessions with all of these beautiful practitioners. It is well worth it, and I hope to see you there. The tickets are going to go quick, so if you know you want to come, go grab one right now at rogueways.org. And Maryam, back to you. The pointless question of the episode.
Beautiful.
Oh, it's really cool.
Like this Sunday?
This Sunday, yeah. I want to usually do it as close to the equinox as I can get, but I had this event this last weekend that I couldn't miss, so it's a week off. But, we're still going to align with the spring energies. It'll still be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Spring has sprung.
Yeah, I can feel it. I literally, the grass came out of the ground, the day that spring arrived. I was like, how perfect is that?
It's beautiful. Beautiful.
I wanted to ask you, your pointless question of the episode is, what is your current favorite thing? So it could be anything: song, movie, show, place, hairstyle, whatever you want to say.
My current favorite thing is the smoothie bowl that I'm making in the morning. I'm taking some, it's the Harmless Harvest organic coconut smoothie, and I'm mixing it with my probiotics, which are from Viome. I partner with a gut intelligence test, and then they tailor the probiotics for you. And I'm putting chlorella, and I'm doing bananas and strawberries and frozen organic blueberries and some Brazil nuts for my about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, because I do keto. So I don't usually eat that much sugar, even though it's from fruits, but that is my favorite thing. Also, biking. I am in a new place and I'm biking along the channels, and I'm blown away by the nature, and it keeps me sane. Just the edge of the water and seeing cranes. It's just magnificent. The trees, there's a lot of old trees. I'm in the oldest city in the United States.
Wow, what is that city, if you want to share publicly?
No, I'm thinking people can figure it out, but no.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it undisclosed.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's
really
smart.
hard with my big mouth. I've been told, you overshare, Maryam.
Well, I love that idea. I love the beauty of that. I can feel it when you're talking about it, just how serene and like reconnecting that would be to just bike along this beautiful path all the time.
Yes. Also, this is another favorite thing.
Ooh.
So I just got this. There was a psychic fair.
Is that a shungite?
And it's not shungite. It's
tourmaline.
It's tourmaline.
Yeah.
It's tourmaline, and it's like an edge. It feels like I could build a wand. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if I won't. I'll just say, remember when you were supposed to cut the chains in the thing that we did, and we don't have to talk about that unless you want to, but
no, I'm fine to talk about that.
That would be perfect for that. Like if you're still practicing that and going into that meditation, you could be using that to psychically cut those chains.
I like it.
That made me really excited.
And I'm wearing this today. I don't usually wear a lot, but I made this.
Wow, that's gorgeous.
And I found it because I finally was reunited with my pod after leaving Los Angeles 2 years ago, and was paying for this pod, and I would have never thought I would have ended up in northern Florida. So yeah, this is real stones, and this is a piece from Persia.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so gorgeous. I love it because it's like the antithesis of the sort of, I can just see all these people who like want to shun and ban you wearing like their, Julie jewels, and this is like actual like beauty,
Yeah.
Not
they can go
anything...
F themselves.
Right.
There's so many mean people. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I just don't understand. It's like if you don't have something good to say, and I'm critical, but I'm not going to attack someone in any case.
Yeah. No, you have the ability to be critical with heart, and all they have is the ability to spew their misery out onto other people.
Yeah, I think I made a remark on the Facebook page for the town, and it's been 7-8 hours and they're still talking, and I'm like, well, this is the liveliest post that has occurred on this page. You're welcome.
They're like someone who thinks has arrived in town. This is insane.
Well, I was commenting on the plethora of junk fast food and saying, why isn't there healthy food? I didn't know that people were going to defend Applebee's.
They're very attached to their addictions, and you're threatening them. They have to attack you.
So. I think so. They're like, if you don't like it, leave. Or why don't you open up a restaurant? What? I'm helping those people that come to me sick and fat after they've realized that the food supply is killing them slowly.
Yeah, I love that attitude. Like, if you don't love it, then you should leave it. You're like, well, why can't I improve it?
Right.
Is that not helpful? I mean, I'm not allowed to talk about things without being the one who actually does it. Like, it's weird. You're doing plenty.
Yeah, that is weird. It's several people had said, well, see how that works out for you. And then they were defending, I understand, good organic food, and I don't make a lot of funds thanks to the attacks on my person and business. Yeah. Because I feel I would have been by now a millionaire on the trek that I was going, instead of being on food stamps. So, but I do spend my money on food, and I would joke that I rather spend money on superfoods than shoes any day of the week.
Yes. I love that attitude. People don't realize that even when you're very poor, if you eat very intentionally, you actually can eat incredibly healthfully. You might not be able to make the fanciest version of it and, the most excessive sort of version of it, but you can eat very healthy on not that much money, even though organic tends to cost more, which isn't it interesting that we pay more to have less poison?
That's what I tell people, actually, Lindsay. I say, if you distill it, you basically have to pay more not to get poisoned.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. Yes.
Well, were you always this way? Were you always a badass who stood up for things that were true and real and got in people's?
Absolutely. Absolutely not. I
Wow.
was a nerd. I was made fun of and called fatso and tub of lard and crank called. And I really had to work to find my voice. Definitely was always kind of on the periphery, even like with hanging out with girlfriends. I'm always kind of the loner. And now that I really have a severe problem of not knowing how to chill, that even it's like I'm listening and writing at the same time. And someone's like, how do you do that? And at one point I was in a session, in a work session, and somehow the channels weren't working. And I was like, how have I been doing this? How the fuck am I doing this? And I'm listening. But so I'm listening passively, but I could stop and play it, and I am writing, and you can read my writing. It is coherent.
Yeah.
But my point is that I have to retrain myself. Like this weekend, I took some downtime. I went with new friends to the psychic fair, went dinner, and I have severe anxiety. And when I was getting my coaching certificate through the Institute of Functional Medicine, it's steeped in positive psychology. And they suggest that you go, and boys and girls can go, or if you're not a boy or a girl or a they or whatever, you can go to the VIA survey, VIA, and it's 15 minutes, and it lists all of your strengths in ascending order. And then you can use it's all positive though. You can use your lower strengths to upper strengths to kind of bolster your lower strengths. So my first strength is love of learning.
I love that. I love that idea in itself of the label lower strengths. They're not weaknesses. They're not as strong as your other strengths.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's VIA. And so it could be like love of humor, love of nature. There's several of them. I forget. I think there's 35.
So your love of learning is really what got you motivated to eventually be this rock star that you are now. It's so interesting. I doubt many people would have pictured you as the loner or the nerd or the person without a voice, because we just assume when we encounter someone, we're like, oh, you've always been like this. Like,
right. And if they also know the challenges that I've up against. However, in grade 6, I was valedictorian. I was described just the other day as a overachiever, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm an overachiever.
That makes sense. That fits.
But I feel like constantly every day, like I didn't do enough, because writing is not like you clock in and you clock out, or if you're doing therapy sessions, oh, I saw 7 clients or whatever. That's not the case. I could be sitting down and it's like, fuck, I'm still not done. I need to be done, but I can't rush it. So now I'm in the midst of writing about the trial that ended with the 3 officers, the federal trial of the George Floyd case.
Yeah.
And I need to finish so I can write the narration for my documentary and then go back to the book that I was aiming to finish in June. And I'm also very good with time. Like it's I'll wake up and I'll say, it's 3:34 and I'll be on the money. I see numbers, I see things. So and I believe that I'm in a time portal, meaning I think this place, this area that I'm in is a time portal. It's the oldest city. I mean, it's kind of obvious what I'm talking about. Do you know where I'm talking about?
Someone said it in the chat, but I'm not going to say it. I know because you told me before.
Right. I'm so bad at keeping my mouth shut.
I mean, everyone knows where I live too. I think everyone knows where I live too. We'll be bad together.
So there's a star fort here, and I feel like the first couple of days I was sleeping in my room, and it just came portal, and then I was invited to a sound bath, which was lovely, and there was a channeler, and we were around the fire, and she said, "So what brings you to blah, blah. And I said, well, I was hoping you could tell me. And she tapped in and she basically said, welcome, we've been waiting for you, and something to do with ley lines and it being a star portal. So she actually said portal without me telling her anything. And so we'll see, because I'm still waking up, Lindsay, and be like, why am I here? What brought me here? I don't know if you can relate with I think you can, given what you've told me. Do you still have those thoughts?
No, now I'm a lot more in like, yeah, of course I'm here for some reason. Like I still don't necessarily always know exactly what the reason is, but I trust that it exists and that I'm along the right paths. You know, I'm where I'm supposed to be. So I have a lot less doubt of it, at least, which is nice. That's nice. If we could all just have that, I think things go a lot more smoothly. So you're definitely there. That is so cool. It's a portal, a time portal, a star portal, star fort. Right. That's fucking badass. Like, yeah.
It is, and there's definitely magic here. And how I describe it is, this is the oldest city, and so you can go to a lot of old cities, but what they've done is kind of they mud pile the history, right? Whereas here you could go and be like, oh, this is like slavery energy, this is pirate energy, this is like cowboy energy. You can actually feel the different time. It's wild.
Wow. Yeah. Have you been to the Star Fort there yet?
So I've been around, and on the weekend there was a freedom rally on the line. It's called the Lionsgate Bridge, and I went on the northern side, and I felt very, very peaceful. And then my housemate reminded me that was where the channeler or her friend said that's where there's a portal. I felt very, very peaceful, like I could actually focus and read a book, because I'm reading like several books. I'm reading this book.
Ooh, Myth, Magic, and Masonry.
Yeah, and this is to prove or find clues on the fact that George Floyd was a drama ritual.
Yeah, I love that. You're incorporating that.
Yes. And then also I got some of my many books, and I opened up a box, and the first book that I picked out was called Biohazard, and it was from 2000, and it was about the Soviet Union and the fact that they run the largest bioweapons labs in the world. And it was about the person who's running the lab, who was instructed to create different biological weapons, such as anthrax and turamia, whatever that is, and to put them on missiles, to launch them into the United States. And so a week ago, what came to me is like, oh, are they seeding the narrative so that they could bring it around and now have a real biological weapon? Because this GOF, gain of function, is nothing new, folks. It's been going on for a long, long time.
And on that note, because we're going to stay super real, I'm going to invite everyone to Rockfin, where we can talk about anything we want. And I'm going to.
We're not on Rockfin right now?
No, we are, but we're also on YouTube and all the other places where they're going to cancel us if we keep talking. And so I'd like to keep my channel. So I'm just going to tell you, the link is right below you, wherever you are watching or listening to this. And you could just hop over to Rockfin, and it's free. It is free, and you could just come listen there, and we're going to talk about everything real. So goodbye, YouTube.